Hi, Malik. Brittany
Hi,
Murphy, Geek
Brittany.
of Color. I guess my question would just be, what about this franchise do you enjoy the most?
Wow, great question. And I could go on for a while on that one, but I think what I really liked about it the most was the bond that it sort of developed in a working way with my father. I was a young filmmaker. It was really, I looked at it as an invaluable way to get experience with the film business, production, and so I was just on board, and he sort of slowly was letting me take the lead. And but what I take from that was just the way we were able to bond, and in some ways as a colleague, but also it strengthened our father-son relationship. So yeah, that's the deepest meaning, and I know that no one would be more thrilled and happy to see where the last one was and where this is going. He would be thrilled, and so I hope that answers your question, and thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bernard Small Sketches Life. How's it going, Malek?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. What do you hope? What do you hope fans walk away with after watching this movie? Like, as far as the entire franchise, what do you hope the fans of the franchise walk away from this movie?
We always try, and this is whatever collective group that we have together, we do try to really satisfy those fans. And what was so great for me personally on the last one was that the fans and the new fans, the new generation, they were just thrilled. And so that literally it's oversimplified, but that's what I hope they take away. And I think they are going to, I think, as much as that one. So what I hope they take away is just the most fun, cathartic, exciting experience to share with their friends, get a little scare on, get a little excitement, and just have a great time. And if the reaction is anything like the last one, I will be thrilled.
Hi, Russ Weekland, Hollywood Life. When it comes to Michael Myers, he's such a monster, but is there anything positive to say about Michael Myers at all?
I mean, I love Michael Myers. You remind me of a quote by my father, so I'll let him take it. They were asking him, how many of these are you going to make? And he said, oh, no, I love him, but we're going to stop at 22. So we got 10 more to go, I guess. But that's, what is lovable about him, in the sense of in the franchise, no, nothing. He's the incarnate of evil. And I think if you cross that line, and he's not, then that would be a mistake. But nothing likable about Michael Myers, except he's just the coolest horror villain of all time. I'm biased,
Awesome.
of
Thank
course.
you.
Thank
Of
you.
course. Thank you.
Joe Deckelmeyer, the Illuminerdi. Look, fantastic job on this movie. It's brilliant. I know your family, your dad has been a part of the franchise since its inception. But this film has almost come full circle. We saw the return of many classic characters, Kyle Richards, Nick Castle, Nancy Stevens, and Charles Cyphers all make their return. Can you talk to me about your experience seeing them return, even though with your family being attached to the franchise for since the beginning?
Absolutely. I mean, the amazing thing is as we prepare to release number 12, I can't believe it myself, and coming to culmination of over 30 years of my involvement in this, which is shocking the most to me. But there really is a sort of Halloween family, and it's every crew member and every cast member that's worked on any of these films. And if you go to any of the conventions, I'm sure you've seen it. It's a huge, wonderful family. And we've dipped back in the past to some of the cast before, and we've referenced things before, but I've never seen it done as well, and haven't been as excited about it on this scale that David and Danny and the other writers, what they're delivering to what exactly you're asking about, what they're delivering on this film, it's just amazing, and it's a whole new level.
This is Karen from Shack. Yeah, speaking about getting to work with David and the rest of the producers on this film in particular, after being part of the franchise for such a long time, what's that experience been like of really working with the new cast and crew as well, and getting to really work with David and the rest of the crew in particular as well?
I mean, David has been really the high point. Of course, Jamie coming back, John Carpenter, the crew, but David really has been the focal point, and his ability to really, in good times, lead us, in bad times, navigate us. I mean, he is every definition of a director, and so watching the creatives he gets around him and the crew that he puts around him, which almost entirely was the same as the last film, and we hope will be on the next one. It's really it's been fantastic, and the collaborations, of course, with the other production companies, Blumhouse, Miramax, and the studio Universal. I often call it was like catching lightning in a bottle on the last one. We want to break that bottle open with some more lightning on this one and the next one.
Hi, Christina from GameSpot. Obviously, your family has been involved in this franchise since the inception of it. Now we're looking at the next movie, which is the end of this trilogy and is titled Halloween Ends. For you, does Halloween ever really end, or is this something you like? Obviously, this will be the culmination of this trilogy of films, but is this a franchise that you could ever see actually coming to an end, or is it just keep on going?
There's a couple ways to answer that. There are certain reasons why it might keep going, contractually, whatever. But in a way, yes, I am a part of it, and I love it, and I love the creatives and the family that we were just talking about that it brings. So had I ever anticipated it would take over this much of my life? Absolutely not. It's given me all gray hairs. But it's been also a delight, and yes, the main course of my career. So, and calling it Halloween Ends, I mean, anything can happen, I guess. But again, I guess I might have quoted it earlier. My father had the great line, when are you going to stop? And he said, oh, no, we're going to stop for sure, but at 22. So he was better at telling that joke, but it's just kind of that's the vibe. And if it's what my dad said, we might keep going. Who knows?
Malek, Emmanuel with LRM Online. Nice to meet you. I had a kind of a strange question. I want to know about how do you get the movement of Michael Myers right on set, whether it's the walking or sometimes even the way that he'll approach a person or a kill or just a stalk in general.
It's a great question because I think anybody who fell in love with that first film fell in love with that movement that you're talking about. And so, that is the infamous Michael Myers movement, Nick Castle, and who else but him to give us a little bit of that movement back. And of course, James Courtney was great, and to work with Nick. And, I think they have really focused on getting that. Now, of course, over the franchise, we tried at different times with varying success. But it's really unique, and it's great that you mentioned it because I remember I identified with that movement or was terrified by it, I guess is a better way to put it, as a kid. And it was so unique, and that's really, we're recreating something that John Carpenter and Nick Castle left for us.
Alec Don Kay from Den of Geek. Going back to talking about, your family being involved in this from the start, do you think that has provided a certain level of, I don't know if quality control is the right word, but I'm thinking of, even something like the Bond franchise where, you have one family that's sort of been the guiding light and the connective tissue for this series for years and years. Do you look at this almost in the same way that your family has been the guiding light for the franchise all along, even as different people come in and out of it?
Yeah, I mean, to clarify, there's not the family involved, it's just me and him because no one else wants anything to do with it. But I guess more so in later years, recent years, I think of it that way because when I started, my first film was just a production assistant. I had no responsibility. I, running around getting people coffee. But as I leaned into the experience of working with them and learning and, now I would never have guessed. But yes, there is a bit of that. There's a bit of trying to keep the brand elevated, trying not to tie Michael Myers into some cheesy commercialization or tie-in that would just reek of sellout. And it's funny because 90% of maybe what I do is say no to a lot of bad ideas, and that was some maybe at the previous studio and wherever it is. It's a lot of he doesn't do that. Oh, okay. Work with David Gordon Green, Blumhouse, Universal Mirror. Yes, that's what he would do. So there's a bit of that, and it's a wonderful connection to have with my father, and I'm humbled and honored to be able to continue it.
Hi, thank you for taking the time to talk to us.
Sure.
My question is, can you kind of elaborate on how the pandemic really affected this, and I'm assuming affected the filming of the third film?
Yeah. Well, Halloween Kills, we wrapped production right before Thanksgiving 2019. So this wasn't even a blip on our radar at that point. So it started becoming an issue for post-production a little bit, but as you know, in post-production, there's a lot fewer people. And then really the first thing that was difficult about it was, the theaters were closing or not being allowed to open. And so, we had to collectively come together and agree that this film really feels like a big theatrical release with Universal, Blumhouse. It just feels like that. And we had to say, it hurts. It hurt me so bad after all that work and not to be able to release it to the fans that Halloween. But I do think that David has made such a great film. And we talked about it at the time that, we have to just tell the fans it'll be worth the wait. And thank you, fans, for waiting, because I sincerely believe it is worth the wait. And I do believe the theater is the best way to see it. But I'm so excited to finally have it come out. I'm just thrilled. Oh, and then you mentioned the next one. The next one was delayed because of the deals that the situation we're in now. But we're finding ways to now move ahead, and we're starting that up very shortly.
Action.
Happy Halloween.